Okay, I had a great question from a member of the Sam Goulden Clubhouse. He was asking how to eliminate rigidity in his swing. He felt like whenever he was trying to make a certain swing movements, he got really rigid, and that's really common. The reason it is so common is because when we're intellectually thinking or analytically thinking about our golf swing, we're in a different frequency or a different wavelength than we are when we're totally sensing, visualizing, or feeling a golf swing. There's this great quote, and I don't know who said it, but I think it was some yogi. I'm pretty sure it was like some yogi. This student comes into the class, and the yogi's like, get into this position, and the student's like, I can't get there. My body's too tight. I just can't bend that way. And the yogi says, body is not tight, mind is tight. And I think that's so true. If your mind is in a certain state, your body's going to perform in that state. So if we really want to get rid of rigidity in our body or in our swing, we have to get rid of this high frequency thinking or analytical thinking in our mind. But then you might say, well, if I'm trying to make a certain golf swing, or I've got this swing thought I'm trying to perform, how do I not be analytical about that? How do I not be intellectual about that? And the answer is pretty simple. You can still be tuned into that idea or that concept you're trying to make in your swing, but you want to be tuned into the sensation of that swing rather than the intellectual or analytical pieces of that swing. So a lot of players, when I work with them at first, they'll say, okay, I'm trying to keep the club face square to the arc. I'm trying to stay centered in my backswing. I'm trying to brace that right leg. I'm trying to do all these things. And I don't mind the word trying. I think there's nothing wrong with that word trying. But when we try to do little pieces of the swing, we're definitely not in that flow state. So for those players, I can feel it. As soon as I put my hands on their club, I can feel how rigid and how tight it is. For those players, I'll say, okay, how would it feel? Can you really tap into the way it would feel for you to turn on a centered pivot, or for you to rotate back and still feel a square club face? Then I start to see them soften up, because as soon as you try to tap into a sensation, the brain has to switch out of the analytical mode and into this flow state mode, or to this lower frequency mode. It's very much like if you think about wavelengths. The brain works in frequencies. It works in electrical frequencies and wavelengths. The higher the frequency, the more rigid, the more quick the thoughts are as far as frequency, the more rigid our body's going to be. But if we smooth that out and we get that wavelength, spread out, and we get in that flow state, we'll see a much more fluid swing. So the idea is, if you do feel rigid in your golf swing, let's eliminate the thought and the piece-by-piece notion of our golf swing and really get into the sensation of, if it is a centered pivot with a square club face, rotating our body back, feeling that square club face, getting set up, rotating our body back, feeling that centered pivot, turning through, really tapping into that sensation, and then hit some little shots and just say, okay, I felt that swing. And for me, often I'll close my eyes, and a lot of players can benefit from this, but I'll close my eyes and I'll really say, how does that feel? And then when I get set up to the ball, I almost just blur my focus or blur my vision and really tap into that sensation of that swing that I just made. And that is a great way for you to tap into a flowing sort of frequency, or a smooth, rhythmic frequency, rather than a rigid and quick and high frequency type of thinking. Okay, so I hope this video helped you. If you are looking for more information on the square-to-square swing or my coaching technique, feel free to visit samgoldengolf.com. If you have any questions, feel free to just comment right here in this thread. And possibly even share this with someone you think might benefit from the idea of being a little bit more fluid or a little bit more smooth in their rhythm versus a rigid or mechanical golf swing.